It's 1946 in Husnabad, in a pre-partitioned India. Satya learns that she has terminal cancer. The doctor tells her she has 1 year left to live, but that she should not lose hope. But she replies that hope doesn't change her reality. He advises her not to travel, but she is determined to fix her karma. Meanwhile, a girl, Roop, is full of life and enjoys flying her kite. She comes home to find Satya waiting for her, but she immediately asks her to leave. Satya's father has helped them financially, and Roop thinks she has come to collect their debts. Rather, Satya has come to ask a favor, which Roop immediately refuses. All Satya wants is 1 year of Roop's life, because she only has 1 year left to live. Roop's father tells her to think carefully. It won't be so bad to live with Satya and her family for only 1 year. Roop's father is still struggling financially, and he won't be able to get Roop's sisters married one day. As the eldest, it's her responsibility to do what's right. Roop stops Satya before leaving, agreeing to her request. But she has a condition. Satya's husband, Dev, must marry Roop first. Roop feels there is no guarantee that he will marry her after her death, so he could easily discard her. Her reputation will be ruined, and she will have nowhere to go. Roop will not enter the house before getting married. After some time, Dev and Roop get married. No one is happy. Later, Roop is alone, listening to music in the distance, when Dev tells her that he loves his wife very much. He only married her on his wife's request. There will only be respect but no love between them. He hopes she will forgive him for this in the future. Roop is very sad in this situation. In the present, it is 10 years later and Roop is talking to a journalist who is interviewing her. She talks about how a decision she made in anger ruined all their lives. Back in the past, we see a blacksmith, Zafar, making swords in an area called Hiramandi. There is talk of a possible partition and Zafar's friend, Abdul, believes they will lose their shops as everything will be replaced with machinery. But Zafar believes that with hard work they will succeed. Roop likes to be by herself and rarely leaves her room, so they bring her breakfast. She wants to know where the music she always hears come from. The caretaker tells her it comes from a mansion where a woman known as Bahar Begum lives. She used to be a dancer but now teaches singing. Roop wants to go there but is told that area, Hiramandi, is the least respected area in the city. If she goes there, her reputation will be ruined. Satya goes to talk to Roop, as she never leaves her room. Satya reminds her of the responsibilities she has. But Roop feels she has already fulfilled her responsibilities towards her sisters. Satya suggests that Roop starts working at Dev's newspaper company, so she can get to know him better. She reminds Roop that she is not her enemy, and only wants the best for her and her husband once she is gone. Roop wants to continue with singing lessons, but she wants lessons from Bahar Begum. But she is now living in a new home, with rules she must respect. That night, she stands on the edge of the building, wanting to jump when she is called. Back in the present, Roop tells the reporter that between her stubbornness and their rules, her stubbornness won. Roop is fascinated with the everyday life in Hiramandi. Dev and his associates are discussing the issues in the newspaper. They are all surprised when Roop interrupts them with an idea. She is given a workspace. Meanwhile, Satya becomes sicker. The caretaker takes Roop to Bahar Begum's mansion, where there is a festival. Roop joins in and sings. Bahar tells her that she has a lovely voice, but that it lacks a certain sparkle. Roop wants to learn singing, but Bahar is hesitant. Roop is told to come the next day. If Bahar likes her singing again, she will teach her. Roop leaves when she bumps into Zafar for the first time. He has heard everyone in that mansion sing, but he wants to know why her voice has more love than pain. He tells her the further she goes from him, the closer she will find him. It's obvious that there is a special connection between them. The next day, Roop learns singing from Bahar Begum, while a jealous Laja looks on. It has been ages since Bahar has heard such a voice. Roop leaves while Zafar looks at her. He is in a situationship with Lajo but thinks of Roop. That night, Roop comes to Dev's room. She wants to work and has an idea for a newspaper article about the people of Hiramandi. She feels there's a story hidden in every household. Dev tells her that if she finds a story worth reading, he will print it. She also tells Dev how she takes equal blame for them being trapped in this relationship. She tells him he may free himself from it, however, he has never spoken of leaving their arrangement. He is glad to know how she feels. The next day, Roop goes to the blacksmith's shop in search of Abdul. There she sees Zafar, who tries to charm her with his words. He points her to Abdul, who isn't interested in participating for a story in the Daily Times. He doesn't believe the newspaper will write the real story. Later, Zafar apologizes for Abdul, as he has a short temper and is busy with partition politics. Roop asks Zafar why he is so attached to Hiramandi. He explains that this place saved him and taught him everything. He would have no character without Hiramandi. He knows Roop is married, but can see that she's not happy. He wants to give her a story, so they agree to meet the following week. Roop goes to an arena where a crowd is waiting to see man versus bull. If Zafar can ride the bull for 7 seconds, he will win. The bull tosses him around many times, but in the end he rides the bull. Afterwards, he is cleaning his blood in the river. Roop is angry, calling him crazy. He tells her he is giving her a story, which she wanted. She is concerned as he could have died. He tells her that death is his right. As he is an illegitimate child, he has nothing to lose. She tells him that if he falls in love, he'll have a purpose. He pities those who fall in love. His ego gets in the way as he tells her he likes the game they are playing. In the present, Roop tells the journalist that the more distant she became with the members of the household, the closer she grew with Zafar. He came unexpectedly in her life, and she floated away with him like hope. He taught her everything about the city, and they started spending more time together. At the same time, Dev becomes more interested in Roop. He notices her beauty and intelligence. He wants to talk to her, but she keeps avoiding him. The next day, Roop is practicing her singing, and Bahar notices something different in her voice. She tells Roop that something in her heart has changed. Afterwards, Roop joins Zafar on a canoe, while Bahar watches. Roop has finished her story and leaves it in Dev's office, but he later tells her it isn't worth printing. That night, Bahar Begum goes to Zafar's home, asking him to leave Roop. She knows he is just using Roop to provoke the press and organize protests. Zafar tells her that everything is Bahar Begum's fault, who fell in love with a married man and had a baby she abandoned. She explains that she was 17, and it is a mistake she is not free from. At the same time, Balraj, Dev's father, talks about the same mistake he hasn't been able to correct. Dev is angry with his father not admitting his mistake until now. Bahar kept the baby so Balraj could fall in love with her, but the opposite happened. Then she thought abandoning her baby, who is Zafar, would make Balraj come back to her. But then she realized he was running away from her, not his child. Bahar tried to reconnect with Zafar, but the relationship was already too shattered. Balraj tells Dev he himself also got married without his consent, so that's why he searched for love outside the home. He hopes the same won't happen to Roop. Dev says at least he respects Roop, unlike Balraj, who never respected his wife. She was ready to accept the boy, even though he was an illegitimate child. But Balraj's ego is what broke the family. Dev knows it's not the boy's fault, but if he meets him, he'll hate him. Because Balraj gave Zafar's share of wealth and dignity to his legitimate son, he will take his daughter-in-law away, as his revenge. He will use Roop to destroy that family. Bahar is very upset. In the present, Roop tells the journalist how everyone in Hiramandi knew Zafar, but no one knew who he really was. Zafar asks Roop about Satya. She tells him she will pass away soon, as she has cancer. Roop used to love the kite flying festival, but now she only sees fallen kites. Zafar enjoys cutting the kites. He explains that if she lived his life, she would know the darkness he has experienced. Roop tells him that ordeals are a part of everyone's lives. It doesn't help being bitter, as it will poison our lives. If one person's failure feels like our victory, we have failed as humans. They almost kiss, but Zafar stops, saying she needs to leave, as their attraction is too strong. Later, Roop agrees with Bahar that something in her has changed. It's because of Zafar. Bahar reminds her that she's married, but Roop tells her it's just a contract. Later, Abdul asks Dev to make their story heard. If the steel industry comes there, the Muslim community will be jobless. Dev thinks the development will be good, as they can then work in factories. But Abdul tells him they will not be enslaved. The issue will always be religion, and the Muslims keep being discriminated against. Roop has helped Zafar gain a working contract, but he doesn't want it at first. He is afraid of goodness, in fear of having to give something in return. But she assures him that she wants nothing. Meanwhile, Roop tries to reach a book on the shelf, when Dev helps her. He asks her if she likes to read, and they connect over their love for books. Satya is about to walk in, when she becomes jealous of them starting to connect. She is both satisfied and sad over their new connection. Balraj is angry with Dev about writing about the positives of the steel industry. This will make the people in the community his enemy. Meanwhile, Satya becomes more sick. Roop goes to see Zafar, but he is spending time with other girls. Lajo tells her to stay far away from Zafar. The Muslim community is protesting against the newspaper company. At dinner, Balraj knows there could be riots and they need to leave Husnabad. Dev reminds him that Satya is too weak to travel. The next day, Roop visits Zafar, wondering why he has been ignoring her. He tells her that he forgot the path of his own life. She informs him that she is leaving Husnabad. At first she didn't want to come here. Now she doesn't want to leave. Zafar tells her she will be happy wherever her husband takes her. But she says they don't love each other. Zafar tells her that he doesn't have any feelings for her, but she doesn't believe him. He was trying to get close to her for a bad reason. But instead, she tells him that love only needs one reason. Satya is in her final hours and tells Dev she will leave them soon. They should prepare to leave Husnabad. She feels fortunate to look into the eyes of the one she loves as she is passing away. She has been feeling a good kind of jealous of Roop, because she will experience her happiness. Dev tells her no one can take her place. Satya asks Dev to fulfill all their dreams with Roop. Dev begs Satya to stay. Later, it is Satya's funeral. Roop feels sad. Zafar cannot focus on work and makes mistakes. In the present, Roop tells the journalist how Satya's absence affected them for a long time. They didn't leave Husnabad right away, but she wishes they had. It's Eid Mubarak. Meanwhile, Abdul's party had become stronger. One of the employees wants to give his article a chance, but Dev doesn't listen. The opposing articles in the newspaper will cause the blacksmiths to come for them. Roop wants to connect with Dev, but he becomes distant. He is drinking alone when Zafar joins him. He comments on Dev being in grief as he is drinking alone. Dev just wants to be alone and away from people who pity him. He wants to know why Zafar is grieving. He explains that he had fallen in love with a married woman. Dev offers Zafar a drink, but he declines as he is Muslim. The two men talk about their opposite love lives. Both have pain for different reasons. Zafar urges Dev to scream his frustration out. They connect over this. They go out together and dance. At home, Balraj is not happy that Roop is not taking care of the house like Satya did. She should understand her responsibilities in the house. But Roop tells him she won't be able to replace Satya. Balraj tells her to take care of Dev, but Roop views their relationship as a debt needing to be repaid. Balraj announces they will be leaving Husnabad the following week, but Roop is not happy, as she loves the city. Zafar and Dev keep partying together. Roop looks for Dev. He is happy to see her, while Zafar is disappointed knowing that she is married to Dev. They drive home, while Dev apologizes to Roop. He gives her the choice to leave him, or give this marriage a chance. He will accept her decision either way. Balraj visits Bahar Begum, announcing that they are leaving the city. She doesn't care, as he said goodbye to her ages ago, so there is no need to be here. He wants her to talk some sense into Zafar, as he is destroying his family. Bahar says whatever God's will is, will happen. She has no control over any of this. She knew Balraj loved her, but got scared of what society would say and discarded her like trash. Just then they see Zafar, who had been eavesdropping. He is surprised to find his mother and father in the same room. Balraj tells Zafar to stay away from his family, but Zafar says then his daughter-in-law should stop loving him. Balraj slaps him, and denies that Zafar is his son, calling him the biggest mistake of his life. This angers Zafar. Bahar tells Zafar to leave Balraj alone. Balraj asks Zafar to leave Dev alone, as he has done nothing to him. But Zafar says that after meeting Dev, he can see he has everything, except happiness. Balraj worked so hard to protect Dev, that he forgot to love him like a father should. All Zafar wanted was to have revenge by seeing Balraj so miserable, but he remembers what Roop said. If someone else's failures feel like your victory, then you are the greatest failure in the world. All he wants is Roop because he loves her. Zafar is randomly attacked but he fights them off. Abdul is watching in the distance. Abdul pretends not to know what happened and blames Roop's family for the attack. But Zafar knows Roop will never do this. Abdul doesn't like that Zafar is blindly in love and losing focus. He offers to get revenge on Roop, but Zafar tells him that he'll kill him if anything happens to her. Meanwhile, Bahar Begum visits Roop. She reveals that Zafar is her and Balraj's son. Zafar doesn't love Roop and is only using her to get revenge on Balraj, but Roop doesn't believe her. She's seen the love in his eyes. Bahar says that Zafar only wants revenge. Roop is heartbroken. Bahar tells Lajo that this was necessary. Zafar had always hated his mother, so it doesn't matter if he hates her more after this. Bahar snatched away his only reason to live. Bahar knows that illegitimate love always creates destruction. Balraj finally tells Dev about his brother, Zafar. He reveals Dev met him on the night of Eid Mubarak. Balraj couldn't admit his mistakes and asks Dev to forgive him. Roop is alone when Dev comes to her room. She agrees to trying to make this marriage work. Meanwhile, Zafar rushes to Roop's home. After spending a passionate night together, Roop walks to the balcony when Zafar arrives. Both are emotional at seeing each other. Roop breaks down, as she had just made a promise to Dev, but now sees that Zafar's love is real. An angry Abdul reads about the opening of steel factories in the city. Riots have started, with buildings set on fire. Roop tells Dev that she had fallen in love with someone from Hiramandi. Dev had always told her the truth, so she should tell him her truth. This time, she tells him that their marriage will have respect but no love. She hopes he will be able to forgive her in time. Even though she loves someone else, they agree to stay together. Meanwhile, there is chaos at Hiramandi, as Abdul has ordered his people against Dev Chaudhry. Because he supports the British steel factories, all the Muslim blacksmiths are plotting revenge against him. Anyone who isn't with Abdul will be his enemy. That includes Zafar. The community is protesting outside the newspaper business and break the windows. Roop is alone at home when Zafar appears. He asks for her forgiveness. He can't do anything else, as she had already decided to continue her marriage. Roop admits she loves Zafar deeply, but he couldn't tell her the truth. He explains that all his life his heart was filled with revenge. Then Roop came and took the hate out of him and filled his heart with love. He got scared of that love. He was afraid of losing he if he told her the truth. They hug. Glass has shattered and they run, as riots have reached their home. The rioters come closer, and Roop and Zafar come by just in time. Zafar asks his mother to leave with them, but she cannot abandon her girls. She has accepted her fate if it comes to death. Zafar, Roop and Dev run for their lives. They reach the train station, where many people are trying to get away. But the rioters are also there, attacking people. Dev and Zafar manage to fight them off. Dev and Roop have entered the train, but Zafar isn't there. Zafar tells Abdul to leave them. But Abdul attacks Zafar. Zafar runs as fast as he can. But is then hit by a rioter. On one end, Dev holds onto Roop, and on the other, Roop calls for Zafar to get up. He grabs Roop's hand, but then Abdul kills him. Zafar is no more. Roop is broken. A deceased Zafar narrates that he doesn't know what happened to him afterwards, but what he knows is that his illegitimate life had achieved a purpose. Dev and a heartbroken Roop reach Amritsar. Balraj, Roop and Dev start moving into their new home. Dev and Roop connected over their losses. The journalist interviewed Dev as well. Roop and Dev's story is printed, while the journalist narrates that their story is one of thousands of stories of the partition that will one day be forgotten. Roop and Dev started enjoying each other's company. In the end, Roop imagines that she and Zafar are together. There is a flashback of when Dev showed Satya their new home. Roop narrates that love and hate are very similar, but the difference between the two is that hate destroys the world, while love destroys you. Even though Roop and Zafar's love was tainted, it will live on forever.